Hi. That's immediate start with a millennial pause. I'm so sorry. This is my tour of my middle school sketchbooks. This is my first sketchbook that I have. Well, the earliest one. I I had some sketchbooks before this one, but I think I threw them away just because I thought the art was really bad and embarrassing or whatever. And I deeply regret that. I'm very mad at myself for doing that. I can't really tell what, I think I drew a little bit on the cover, but I can't tell what it is. This was, I used to do this in my older sketchbooks. I think it was like maybe the first like 3 that I have. I would basically have like a disclaimer saying, "Hey, back off. I didn't back off unless I showed this to you, and I gave you permission to look through it." But yeah, that's all it was. I went by -8 back there, as you can see. I don't anymore, of course. The first page is, she's very, very slanted. She's at like an angle. This is an OC of mine. So basically, back in middle school, like I say middle school, but it was like 5th and 6th grade, I was obsessed with this game series called Puyo Puyo, and to this day I still am obsessed with it. I really like it. I thought I heard my mom. I still really like it. And I had this group of OCs who were basically just rip-offs, essentially, of the characters from Puyo Puyo. This character, her name, as you can see, is Yasuragi Sakaino. She was basically, we have Arl at home. I don't think her design is all that horrible, as you'll see going forward. These designs that I was cooking in middle school were not very good. They're very, very busy. They seem obnoxious to draw. But story about like the name for not only her but literally almost every single OC that I had back then. I would basically just like Google translate random phrases and sayings that I thought sounded nice, that I thought would have been cool to be names, and I would Google translate them into Japanese, because of course I did, and I would just scroll through the variations to see which ones that I liked more, which ones that I liked the most, and that's how I ended with her name being Yasuragi Sakaino. I don't really remember what that meant, but it had a world in it, of course, because it's Sakai right there. So her name's just like a sentence. This is a she's not leaning as badly, but this character's name was Yuja, and we have Amity at home, and her hand is a little weird. Again, I don't think that the design is all that horrible, but from what I remember, the next one is not very good. Also, there's a little drawing from my friend up here. Yeah. Also, I forgot to say this at the beginning, but I don't know what happened to the I'm distracted by the drawing, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened to the cover of this. It's just like gone. But this character, her name is Ichigo, as you can see, which is funny because I actually have an OC now whose name is also Ichigo. She's also at an angle, and oh dear, this character I feel like is very, very obviously, we have Ringo Ando at home. Like you could tell with the clip in her hair being a strawberry, like how Ringo has the Puyo in her hair. This book, I think, is exactly the book that Ringo has, and I think I referenced like her hand. Yeah, it's very obvious, and also this is, I think, the worst out of the main 3 designs. Like, there's so much going on in the middle, dude. There's nothing on this page. Yeah, another thing that I wanna get out of the way that I forgot to mention at the beginning is I used to have a pretty bad habit of just writing down the names of OCs that I wanted to draw, and just like hoping like I'll come back to this and draw it, and then I never ended up doing that. It's really, really annoying. It's the most annoying part about my middle school sketchbooks, mostly like just the very, very first ones that I have, and I think it's the worst in just the first four. Yeah, which, I mean, there's a lot we gotta get through, I'm sorry. So, this is one, here's the other one, and another. Finally, some art. This one was, I don't actually even know what was the inspiration here, but, so basically, we have more, this is more of the, we have Puyo Puyo at home characters. So this character right here, her name was Konshu. We have Sig at home. That's Yuja again. That's Aohira, who was we have Maguro at home. And that's Ichigo again. That's I don't even know what that guy's name was. Yeah, I have no idea what this dude's name is. But he was, I think, the most obviously we have Satan at home. His design is literally just like a direct copy of that. It's so blatant. And I think if these were also just me projecting my ships onto them, so like I shipped Amity and Sig, and I shipped Makoto and Ringo, and rather regrettably back in like 6th grade, because just getting this out of the way, I didn't know any better. I did not know any better. I didn't know that this was bad or whatever. I didn't know that this was really gross. I shipped Arl and Satan. I think mostly just because my friend shipped them, and I would also guess that she didn't know any better, and she might not have actually even known about the age gap. But yeah. Also, this one has a date. Did this 6 years ago, I think. It's wild. Wild time progression. I thought I paused the recording, but I just stopped it, so sorry about the the random little cut. But I had these like the series of OCs who were just basically a bunch of random like inanimate objects. But for the most part, I remember mostly food. It might have actually just been foods. But they'd basically just, their names would be like, oh, like whatever food they were, plus a suffix, plus like not a suffix, plus a Japanese honorific, because of course, and their honorific would give like an idea of how old they were. So this character, as you can see, her name was Apple-chan, and the chan means that she's between the ages of, I think, 10 and 19 years old. So, like I said, she's 17 here. And I didn't, as you can also see, I did not finish this drawing. So this OC was, so like almost like a series that I wanted to do, just full of basically, again, similar to my We Have Puyo Puyo at Home characters. It was basically just, we have Fire Emblem at home, except I never even played Fire Emblem, and I still haven't played Fire Emblem. Like, I had like just seen a trailer for one of the games and thought to myself, wow, that is so flippin' cool, man. And also just, I had seen the Fire Emblem characters in Super Smash Bros. Because I was one of those kids who I thought the Fire Emblem all the Fire Emblem characters in Super Smash Bros. Were super cool. But basically, yeah, this guy, I don't know how to say that guy's name, Solly, he looks alright. I feel like I get the vibe that I probably referenced the same image of Ringo again. Yeah. I don't remember what the story was called also, so I can't, that was loud. I don't remember what the story was called. This is a really, I feel like a really obvious example of what I said about me having the OCs, like writing, just like Google translating stuff for my OCs names. So I wanted her name to just be Azur, but translated into Chinese. And also, now that I'm zoomed in, I can see like this extremely tiny tie that she's wearing is really funny. But I don't know. She's also kind of at an angle. I think I had a habit of laying, like, kind of laying on my paper while I drew, and so, like, for that reason, like, a lot of the times my drawings will come out wonky, whereas I don't really do that anymore. There's more names and stuff. Oh, there's a thing on the next page. I can see it. Now, I actually do remember making this up. I was at my grandma's house whenever I painted this. So a bit of context. So back whenever I was in middle school, like before I had Spotify, I only really had Samsung Music, and for some reason there were just like so many Daft Punk songs that were on there, and that was kind of just all I listened to. And so I made this little Daft Punk painting. Like I said, I was at my grandma's house whenever I made it, and I think that all these little fonts that I wrote them in were really cool. I think the robot rock one is my favorite, even though it's a little sloppy, but it's my favorite. It's cool. I also remember showing this to my art teacher at the time, who I knew was a Daft Punk fan. So yeah, I remember that. That was cool. Also, I do kind of like that defunct punk, not font. This is another thing I drew at my grandma's house. It was just a bunch of mainly Super Smash Bros. Characters, because I really like Super Smash Bros. At this time. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And there's also some, oh my god, what are they called? The guys from Breath of the Wild. I don't remember what they're called. They have a title, but I can't remember what it is. Yeah, I thought these were funny back then, and I still like the Bowser mouth Hadoken one. That's funny. This was I think she was the main character of my We Have Fire Emblem at Home story that I never really ended up doing anything with. I don't know why I keep calling it a story. I don't think I had a plan or anything. I was just designing characters I thought were cool. And her name was Ciel, as you can see. And the story was called Legends Path. She also has a really tiny tie. It's weird. I don't know why I did that. I feel like this... Okay, for some reason, like, this little, like, sash I gave her is kind of giving Blake Belladonna. I don't know why I'm thinking of that. I know I liked Ruby at the time, but, I feel like this sash thing, I don't even know if that's the right term, would be, like, really impractical. Like, I feel like it'd get caught on something while she's, like, fighting with her swords. I don't know, I actually do kind of like the, like, little crop jacket with the belt and the skirt. I feel like I feel like she doesn't really match with, like, a style, at Sally, or however you say it. I keep wanting to say a Stally, but it's ATS. I feel like she doesn't really match, though. But overall, I don't think her design is all that bad. Oh, this is another, I say mostly, Super Smash Bros. Drawing, even though it is Mr. Game & Watch. I drew it with Super Smash Bros. In mind. This was the Fire game, which I know that my brother actually also had, like, a pretty big Mr. Game & Watch phase. He used to really like that. Oh! This drawing is of Otomo from Puyo Puyo. He's like the Ocean Prince's, I think he's his bodyguard. He's his bodyguard. And I really liked him whenever I was in middle school, and I still really like him, and I still really, really like this drawing. I think he looks really cute. I think it's just the face. He's got such a simple face, and I think it's always gonna look cute. This is an unfinished drawing of Amity. You can only really tell it's Amity because obviously her hat, it's just staring into your soul. But this is like these little skeletons that I used to draw are so weird. Which I feel like it sounds a little mean, but it's my art. I can be mean. Oh my god. There's like 2 sketchbooks in particular that are just mostly names with no drawings, and I'm so sorry about it. This was Sig from Puyo Puyo. He still is my favorite character in the entire game series, and I think that this was going to be an entire page of just drawings of him, but I never really ended up doing that. This is another random OC. Her name was Kesha, and I don't remember anything about her, but I feel like this drawing's a little cute. I think this drawing's cute. It's nice. This is a Nabbit, but I'm trying to show the top section because I actually do specifically remember I was going through art block around this point in the sketchbook, and I wanted to draw Nabbit as a person to hopefully try and get myself out of this art block and just give me something to draw. But so down here, rather recently I was looking through this sketchbook again, and I actually drew my own design here, and I don't know, I guess I was just inspired or whatever. Like I said, as I said here, he's wearing a black and white striped turtleneck, and his bag has a mushroom on it. That's what it says. It's a little hard to read, I'm sorry. Like I say here, funnily enough, I think I actually spent less time on this than the drawing above. I've just gotten a lot faster at drawing, and I really this isn't me just loving my current art. This is an old sketchbook tour. I gotta remember that. Now this is another result of me being art blocked. I drew just this guy in a lemon costume, and I thought it was really funny. This was gonna be me drawing a bunch of random chibi versions of OCs that I have. I started with this girl named Twilight, who I do not remember having, and I never came back to this page. This is another dude honorific OC, I suppose. His name was Lemon San, and the San shows that he's between the ages of 20 and 29. I don't mind this drawing, it's alright. This was it was not in frame. This is another We Have Puyo Puyo at Home character, and I feel like it's so incredibly obvious if you've played the games which character it is, just solely based off of these little guys. These little guys. This is very clearly Feli. She's supposed to be Feli. Her name was Zakuro. She's Ichigo's sister. Ichigo had a bunch of sisters, like a huge family. I remember that. This was another result of me being art blocked. I just drew a bunch of Waddle Dees and a bunch of things that I think I had people in my art class request. Well, mostly just people who sat at my table with me in my art class. Which also another thing that I really loved back in middle school was just writing it backwards. I thought it was like so much fun. I think Gravity Falls might have been why I loved that so much. So I drew with a t-shirt. It's just Hollywood with some shades. This is fingerless gloves, which I also don't know why I wrote this in this order. It doesn't really make sense. Like, the orders backwards along with the text is weird. This one's got a bag over its head and it's got lemons on it because I assume because the next one that I drew was it with a lemon boy hat. Yeah, also I wrote Waddle Dee's eyeshadow at the top, which I don't think that that's a proper use of that word. This was a drawing I did with my friend. This is a drawing I did with my friend. It was with our lemon OCs. This is Lemon Sun, of course, and I don't really remember what their OC's name was. Yeah, it's cute. I think it's cute. They're holding hands. This was another result of being art block. Just another art block result. Another nothing page. But this was an OC that I had. I don't remember what her name was, but she was like a cat girl witch, and she didn't finish drawing her, of course, but I remember her being kind of cute. This was a page this is actually an older page from a different sketchbook, but it was just a bunch of various drawings of this OC of mine. Her name was Akano, I think. Yeah, it's up here. Akano Sosiji. That was her name. Also, this is like taped in, and it's not taped in very well. It's like very clearly coming off. It's kind of annoying. So yeah, I just drew a bunch of variants of her. This is her normal outfit. That was her as a kid. That one, the one with the broom, is her, I don't know, kind of adventuring, I suppose, outfit. And then this one over here is an aged up version, I think. And all of these are just very various, but what if she was eviler versions of her? Yeah, I think this would be the most powerful and evil, as you can tell with her horns. Yeah. And then there's nothing on the next page. This is just a random squid holding a heart. Funnily enough, I think I actually drew this before I got into Splatoon. It's also another octopus. An octopus, not another. I also think that, for some reason I remember, if I'm not mistaken, I drew these in my science class. And I don't remember why, I don't know why I remember that. Here's another, oh god, I gotta turn my sketchbook. This is another Splatoon drawing. I can't remember if I said this already, but I think I drew all these before I even got into Splatoon. Here's another girl. She's an Octoling. But she's got the anime Octoling hairstyle. I don't actually know if I knew about. I almost said side order. I meant the Octo expansion. This one was drawn. I was gonna say more recently. You can't see that. It's not focusing. Okay. This one was drawn, like, I'd say kind of recently, but like I still drew that a long time ago. It was back whenever I was actually more into Splatoon. Oh my god, it's just so blurry. Which was, I think, another We Have This Thing at Home character, but I think he might have actually fit into the Fire Emblem the Fire Emblem at Home series, but I think he was supposed to be more like Meta Knight for some reason. That doesn't fit. It's okay. This was the first ever Anthro character I had drawn, I think. I think my friend, like, at the time of this, like they had just shown me the La 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 animation meme, I think that's what it was called. Like the original one. And I just remember thinking it was, like, the coolest thing. And so I drew a little furry girl. And she's cute, or whatever. She's cute. Yeah, as you can tell by me yelling on this page, I was quite upset. this is a drawing of my OC Staccato, and now that I think about it, I think this might have been the only drawing of her that I really had back from middle school. But as you can see, I messed up. I messed up on her face right here. Yeah, I messed up right there on her face. But I mean, yeah, again, like, I feel like her design's just kind of a lot. Oh my god, there's literally nothing again. Oh, okay, I remember this. So, I had bought the Legend of Zelda Hyrule Historia from my school's book fair, and I had bought that, and I just remember thinking that, like, oh my god, what was her name? Minna. I almost called her Mifa. That's a different character. I remember thinking that Minna was, like, really, really cool, whatever, and this was me just, like, a direct redraw from the book. And also I wrote Back to the Twilight Realm. Also, disclaimer, I have never played Twilight. I wanted to say Twilight Sparkle. That's not what it's called. I'll put it up on screen. I don't remember what it's called. Also, you can very, very faintly see it, but I think I was trying to redraw, like, her human form, like this exact same pose, but with her human form. You can barely see it. I can't remember if I just didn't like how the drawing was coming out, or if I just, like, didn't want to draw her this design because it was probably complicated. This one I think was also supposed to be a redraw from the Hyrule Historia, but with Skull Kid from Majora's Mask. And as you can see, I never finished. That's not surprising. And oh my god, there's, like, a huge, like, kind of almost, like, stain. It's really gross. But these characters were, again, another we have this thing at home, but specifically with Minna. And yeah, that's Jake. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. Her leg is kind of broken there. It's whack. I think I messed up the focus. Oh my god, why is this page so gross? I think I'm more I think I'm just so taken aback by that I don't have all that much to say. Oh my god, what happened here? Very long torso girl. Very long torso. Very skinny. This page, and I think the next couple pages were just a bunch of pages of my friend trying to draw my sketchbook. They went through quite a few. I don't think they really ended up liking any of them. And the final page is just a little poison mushroom girl. Yeah, I don't really have anything to say about it. This pen that I have right here also feels very Ringo Puyo Puyo. This last page is very kind of boring. Okay, oh my god.